In this training video, we're going to show you how to use geozones for your providers. So geozones are useful if you would like your providers to be in a certain part of town, either on a given day of week or at a given date in the future. And if you set up a geozone for the provider, CareLink will give you a constraint violation if you try to schedule a patient that is outside those geozone boundaries. So there's a couple of different ways to set up your geozones. You can go under configuration, you can manage providers, and you can go into the provider profile. So say we want to set up a geozone for this provider here. I can go ahead and click on the pencil, and then you can scroll down, and then under your constraints for your providers, you're going to see the day of week geozone. So say we want to go ahead and set up a geozone for Friday, and maybe this provider is going to be in one city only on Fridays, or we want to schedule patients only within that city on Fridays. So what I can do is go ahead and set my geozone, and then by default, what it's going to do is pull up the provider's home address and give you a radius within the provider's home address. What you can also do is go ahead and search for an address. You can put in a specific address or a city or a landmark or something like that. And then this will come back and give you the coordinates for the center of that specific geozone. Maybe I want to make it a little bit bigger. I've got patients around Tucson, Arizona. I can go ahead and click on preview. This will show me the boundary of the geozone, and then when I'm ready, I can go ahead and set the geozone. And then now you'll see that I have a geozone set for Fridays for this particular provider. Now you can also set up geozones at a particular date in the future. To do that, you can go under configuration, manage providers, and then you can manage the provider geozones. And if you do this, you can set up specific geozones using a latitude and longitude and radius miles away from the center. And then you can set them up for a date range, or you can set up recurring geozone dates. So this is really good. Maybe if the provider every other Friday works in a certain part of town, you want to limit them, you can go ahead and create a recurring geozone. And then geozones are useful when you go and try to schedule a patient. So you notice that we set up geozones for Fridays. So I can go ahead and select a patient, and then it will show me where the geozone is set for that particular provider for that day. It'll also show me where this patient is that I want to schedule. And then if I try to go and schedule this patient on this particular day, and if the patient lives outside of our geozone, we're going to go ahead and attempt to do that. I'm going to go ahead and click on schedule, and then you're going to see that you get this constraint violation that says this patient is outside of our geozone for that particular day. As always, you can override the constraint if you want to force that patient to be scheduled for that day. Geozones will also work when you run the scheduling wizard and if you do bulk scheduling. So if you want to run the wizard to find the best date to schedule a patient, and that patient lives outside of an area where you have a geozone constraint set up, you'll see that reflected in the schedule wizard constraint message.